facilities. Many drilling operations and exploratory plans were suspended in the wake of the spill, but in light now of rising gas prices, is there now an economic incentive to step up drilling in the Gulf? Let's talk about it with Louisiana Senator David Vitter and also Oceana Senior Marine Scientist Jacqueline Savitz. Welcome to you both.
Thank you, Shannon. Good to be with you.
All right, I want to start out with a poll that we have from Fox News asking viewers and folks out there across the country, if gas reached $7 a gallon, how would you react? Well, 70% say they would demand that U.S. Increase its own supply by drilling here. 23% say they would accept paying the higher prices, and the environmental concerns along with that 8% say they don't know. But Jackie, you have serious doubts that even if we did up domestic drilling, it would impact the price that we're paying at the pump.
It wouldn't impact the price we're paying at the pump. The truth is we have about 2% of the world's oil supply and we use about 20%. So what that means is that it's the international oil market that's driving the price, not how much we drill. When we increase drilling, it doesn't actually change the price at the pump. Most economists agree, and there have been some government studies that show the best we could hope for would be a 3% decline in price, but not, a 3-cent decline in price, but not until 2030. So if we really want to see the price of energy go down, the smart thing for us to do is invest in clean energy and start building that sector so that we can not only provide our own energy, be energy independent, but also export clean energy technology.
And Senator, I know that Louisiana is looking into all kinds of alternative energy resources along with domestic drilling, though, but you believe that domestic drilling should go on. Can we do it safely?
Absolutely. We've learned a lot from the disaster a year ago, and we can do it safely. And we need to do all of the above. It's not either or, as Jackie suggests. I think the wisdom and common sense of the American people is all of the above as aggressively as possible. That includes developing that new technology, new energy sources, but it sure as heck also includes developing our resources right here in the U.S. and increasing supply wherever we do that in the world. Increasing supply absolutely affects price in a positive way.
And Jackie, I know a number of major oil companies have now come together with their plans they're presenting to the U.S. government to show how they could do this more safely, what they would do in the event of another spill like we saw last year with BP. Are you convinced those plans are enough? Because they've got to get by government regulators before they can move ahead.
Well, we're not convinced that those plans guarantee safety at all. In fact, some of the studies that have come out recently have shown things like blowout preventers that we rely very heavily on really aren't guaranteed to work. Some of the things that they're talking about doing take weeks, if not months, to actually put in place. And that's where we were exactly a year ago. That's where we were saying, throwing up our hands and saying, if only we would have thought of this before. And the fact is, this is our chance. And Congress really hasn't taken any steps to increase the safety of offshore drilling, even a year out. So we think there's a lot more that can be done, but we also think that if we try to do it all, that essentially the existing industries, the oil industries, will compete with clean energy industries and make it harder for it to come aboard. Obviously, we're not going to stop using oil tomorrow, but if we put a plan in place, we believe we could stop the need for drilling in the Gulf by 2020 and end our need to import oil from the Persian Gulf by 2023. And if there's a way to do that, I think everyone would agree we'd be better off if we did it.
Senator Vitter, I'll give you the final word here as we wrap up.
I don't know anyone who thinks we can just shut off our use of oil and gas by 2020 or 2023. That's absolutely ridiculous. And I think Jackie was quite honest a minute ago when she said we don't want this domestic industry to compete with new energy alternatives. And she just fundamentally disagrees with what I know is the consensus of Americans. We need to do all of the above. We need a new energy future, but we also need to get there. We need a bridge to that future, and that has to include oil and gas, and we just can't continue to shut off 95% of the energy resources we have in this country. We are the most energy-rich country in the world, bar none. Only Russia comes close. The difference with us and other energy-rich countries is we're the only one who takes 95% of those resources, puts it off limits.
All right, we know the debate is far from over, but we thank you both for weighing in, Senator David Vitter and Jackie Savitz as well.
Thank you.
Thanks. Well, should it take